I'm Head of Compliance and MLRO for an international payments firm, which means that I am responsible for regulatory compliance and financial crime matters, and that I head a team of 12 people who look after everything from KYC, customer and counterparty due diligence, sanction screening, data protection and other controls in that area. I've had a career that's really been split into two, in that I started off in law enforcement, and I was in law enforcement for about 18 years, and during that time I had a CID career and then specialised in banking crime and payment card crime. In particular, I worked at the forerunner to the National Crime Agency, looking after the threat assessment for the UK in relation to organised crime and serious crime in the banking area and in payment cards, and also worked with Interpol and Europol on those matters. And after about 18 years, and that's having sort of invested in that specialised area, including spending a couple of years in the Cayman Islands on secondment, I was started to be approached by the industry because I was working at the agency, and that's a multi-agency environment, so you work with other departments of government but also with private bodies such as the Association of Payment Card Clearing Services, as it was then, and the British Bankers Association, etc. So having sort of engaged with those external parties, they started to come to me and show an interest in my expertise, etc. And I realised that within law enforcement I'd probably done as much as I could do, so eventually I accepted one of those offers and went to work in the private sector. What I really enjoy about my role is that my role is fundamentally about judgment. So if you have a bit of an ego and you've done your work and you've developed your experience and your expertise with additional professional training and development, etc., then that's when you come into your own, because people look to you to provide judgment and decisions and advice, and also to support that with good evidence and rationale, build a case. If compliance was about the black and white that some people think it's about, there'd be no need for anybody to be a professional compliance officer. But it's never really about the monitoring of if you like, compliance with the rules that are clear. It's really, certainly once you develop your career, about managing the grey areas, about helping the business to find its way through those challenging multi-jurisdictional areas, the conflicts, those kinds of things that regulation does have. So for me, it's all about that judgment. I look for good analytical skills. I look for commitment to detail, particularly in language. I think understanding language and being able to express a point clearly and accurately is very important, particularly when you're dealing with legal language or you're interpreting legal language or advice. Then you really need to be clear about the meaning of things. I guess it's the same sort of things that you would say to young people, particularly in any area, in that I look for people who have a commitment, who are willing to make a commitment and show an interest. I need people who are both capable of, if you like, getting their head down and getting stuck into a piece of work, so they take ownership of something. They don't have to know everything or get everything right when you're starting out in your career, but you have to take ownership and be able to commit to the delivery of something. And then if you need help or if you get stuck, then you should have colleagues and people to help you. And the other thing that I look for really is social skills, the ability to get along with people, to engage with people. In a corporate language, you might say to manage stakeholders, but really it's just about being able to create relationships so that you can be supported, helped, so that there are less misunderstandings, so that when you need to make a decision or to get to a rationale, if you like, you've got not only your own brain. I always say about my team, we're not one brain, we're 12 brains, so there are lots of things where we should all have input. And that's sort of a general truth about what I look for in people, their willingness to work with other people, their ability to engage with people, as well as, if you like, a more academic skill set. At entry-level roles, the truth is, in this day and age, there are a lot of people gathering relevant qualifications, and so it's a tough market. I see increasingly people with the ICA qualifications, and I look for them because I find them very useful. The team, all my team are either already have or are undertaking such qualifications, and I find them a real asset to their skill set. So when I'm looking at CVs, if somebody already has or is studying those, then for me that's a really good sign, and it's a really practical indication that they're committed to that area for a career. But it's true, I will state quite clearly, that when it comes to other qualifications, work experience and a commitment to work is for me at least as valuable as academic qualifications, and in some cases more so. Not every young person develops at the same rate. Not everybody is ready for the academic life when they're 18 and wants to go to university or whatever. So if somebody can show me, for example, that they've been committed to work, that they've been working in a professional environment, that they're used to meeting deadlines, that they're used to delivering internally or externally, whether that be in service roles or in an office environment, then I consider those skills to be transferable at the beginning of your career, and I would consider them to be really valuable. One of my hires at entry level was a young lady who didn't have an academic background, hadn't taken many qualifications since she left school, and in fact had been left school for a few years. And when she joined, I was already aware that she was a hard-working person and that she had capacity, but she obviously was concerned that she didn't have the academic skills. So I encouraged her to take the advanced certificate in anti-money laundering, which I thought would professionally develop her. And she worked hard on that, and she actually got a distinction on a paper that the question was to provide an advice note for frontline staff about unwrapping complex entities. That's understanding structures, shareholders, that kind of thing. So apart from the feedback on that, which was that she had a distinction and that it was a really good piece of work, only a couple of months after that, within my own business, we acquired a company that didn't have the same level of maturity in its compliance function. And one of the things I noted was that they needed an advice note on that very area. And in fact, their sales staff had asked for that. So rather than reinvent the wheel, I went back to the document that my staff member had produced, looked at the feedback forms that came when the assignment is returned, and I would say between the feedback form and sort of a 5% tweaking that I gave it, that's the document that became the tool that we use. So if you like, 90% of what the young lady produced went into the document that we now use to advise frontline staff about unwrapping complex structures. And obviously that's something that she can be very proud of, but it also shows the very practical application of the academic work that the ICA courses bring.